One, two, three. Hello, welcome to CinemaChunts Almost Social Podcast, a podcast where three idiots, Sharan, Swapnil, and I, Karthik, navigate their way through the world of cinema. In this episode, we will be talking about movies we hate, movies that left us irritated, annoyed, and angry. Needless to say, spoilers ahead. The episode was recorded over Skype, so please bear with the poor sound output. Now, let's head to our discussion.
Let's start with स्वप्निल because I think he's उसके अंदर सबसे ज्यादा रेज है मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है.
I quite agree with Sarang. I think I'm the angriest man in Mumbai probably. Right. So one movie that has left me in quite a bit of a rage very recently has been Madam Zoya Akhtar's piece of shit called Gully Boy. I wish that movie had never been made. It's such a fuck all movie, and then you know what? There have been. I will obviously talk in depth about the multiple factors that I do not like about that movie, but below this seething rage that I have for this movie is a sort of I don't know. I think I was very hurt by her intentions and also the craft and also her craft that went into making Gully Boy. And so a lot of my anger and rage is coming from the fact that I'm very disappointed in Zoya. So that's one movie that I would like to talk about. And a lot of it is also political, which brings me to Karthik's movie that Karthik really wants to talk about, which is absolutely enraged about. Karthik, over to you.
Mine is going to be the 2019 Todd Phillips film Joker. The most problematic aspect of Joker for me has been the audience reception. I don't think people have understood the movie, not in the sense that they don't get the story or they don't get the character, but movies are beyond just narratives, beyond just plots. There is a lot of intention behind whatever happens, and when there is a lack of intention, or rather when there is a lack of for a lack of a better word, artistic intentions, when there aren't artistic intentions behind what is going on the screen, then I personally am quite enraged, if I may say so. So Joker is going to be my movie that Joker is going to be the movie that I'm going to rant about. Sharam, what is your movie? I was aware that Swapnil is going to talk about Gully Boy, but I don't know what you are going to talk about.
I was talking to Swapnil just before the podcast, just before you joined the call, that I don't hate any movies. Actually, I just realized, I happened to realize how okay I am with the films that are being made, because what I think is कि to hate something, you need to care about it in the first place. And in the recent times, the films that I have seen, I don't care. I genuinely don't care about those films. Fortunately, जो मैंने movies देखी है वो हैं ही खराब, तो मतलब लोग भी उसके बारे में खराब ही बात कर रहे हैं. तो इसके लिए ऐसा ऐसा कुछ मेरे को ऐसा शॉकिंग नहीं लगा कि अरे यार लोग भी बहुत अच्छा बोल रहे हैं उसके बारे में. बट समथिंग लाइक अ गोलमाल अगेन, मैंने उसका कुछ देखा नहीं था, मैंने उसका ट्रेलर नहीं देखा था, मेरे को कोई आइडिया नहीं था. And when you have seen 3 installments of Golmaal, and it has been a big part of your childhood, and when Rohit Shetty goes on to make a film which is, मतलब वो कमर्शियल सक्सेस के लिए अगर ऐसा कुछ भी करेगा और तुम्हारे बचपन के साथ अगर वो बंदा खिलवाड़ कर रहा है तो तुमको बहुत गुस्सा आता है. तो मेरा प्रॉब्लम वो है कि आप फिल्म्स बना रहे हो, लेकिन आपकी इंटेंशन क्या है. But yeah, I think there were a few films. Golmaal again थी. There was मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता, which I saw. There was Dream Girl. So there were quite a few. But I think we'll move on to my long list of the films that I've disliked, not hated, but disliked.
So, okay, so let's start with what Gully Boy I thought was. I when I first saw the first looks and everything, I thought it was a legitimate movie about the rap scene and all. Now, fair warning, I don't have a lot of understanding or knowledge about rap and rap culture and where it comes from, especially contemporary rap society in India. But what I do understand is the basics of it, and I'd like to talk about that in more detail as we go ahead with this discussion. But I genuinely thought from the looks of it that Gully Boy was going to be about rap. And at the end of the movie, when I walked out of the theater, I realized it was not about rap. Rap was a poet was a cinematic equivalent of a poetic device. It was just a plot device. There was like it could have been anything except rapping. It could just as well have been a movie making. It could just as well have been I don't know, poetry writing or story writing. It could have been anything. The
It's
crux
incidental
of
to the
that,
plot.
huh? Sorry.
It was incidental to the plot. Rapping.
It was incident. Yeah, absolutely. It was incidental to the plot. And the main story was about an underdog story, which is great, which is a great motif to sort of base your movie on. But when you go on shouting around, marketing your movie that this is a rap movie, no movie has ever been made before. I expect you to be honest and genuinely make a movie that is based on rapping, and not make it incidental to your movie. I think the thing that really ticked me off was the dishonesty that the film reeked of. The marketing aspect that features so heavily today into filmmaking. The places where it draws inspiration from, especially the writer's mind, is frankly pathetic in my opinion. Is like you should be ashamed of yourself. In my honest opinion, you should not. Like they took inspiration from real stories. Why not make movies about them? Why juxtapose that with your filthy corporate agenda of making money? And is one thing that's great about Gully Boy is that it helped artists across spectrum, and it gained them a lot of visibility and popularity. It's like it opened up a door to this art form that's not been talked about in India, and that's all great. I'm not saying that okay, it's not great, but you're doing a disservice by not actually opening up your doors to the philosophy of that art form, to the politics of that art form, and you're just opening your doors to the jazzy side, to the window dressing of it, like just the superficiality of it. That's what ticks me off a lot.
So I personally don't think Gully Boy is as bad as Swapnil mentioned it. So Swapnil talked about the whole money making motive behind making Gully Boy. I think it's a fine motive to make a movie. I don't think it's wrong to make movies to make money. I don't think it's wrong to use or even let's just say abuse any social event idea or whatever to make money. I don't particularly find that thing horrible. But the problem is if you're doing it technically nicely and on a craft level, if you're doing it genuinely good, then it's no problem. Because here's a controversial opinion that a German director by the name of Michael Haneke had. So he talked about Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List. He said that he was not revolted, but he was very dissatisfied with one of the ending sequences of Spielberg's Schindler's List. when all the Jews are put into the gas chamber, and then there is a kind of a suspense moment when the showers come out, and then all of the Jews are just looking up and assuming that they're going to be gassed and killed, but it's actual water that comes out of it. So Haneke said that how can Spielberg use such a historically tragic moment for to give the audiences a feeling of suspense, a feeling of thrill, a feeling of I don't know, fear.
That's a fair
So,
point, actually. Yeah.
in the same way, I think movies are don't really have to be true to reality or real situations. So it's okay that Gully Boy is. I mean, for me at least, it's okay that Gully Boy is not okay to the true to the hip hop scene or rap scene. I don't think they really cared about those issues. Or I don't know whether they cared or not. I do have problems with. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I felt very distant while watching Gully Boy. It was a very conventional narrative in a sense, like Swapnil pointed out. It was about a person finding himself, being very artistic. I'm just tired of those kind of narratives because I personally don't think that everyone should give up nice, decent jobs that fetch them good salaries and start going to and go on finding themselves at the age of 30. I think that's really a stupid idea to pursue. Even if they are 25, I don't think people really do it, and they're given this false hope that, oh, you should go ahead and do what you want to do. It's not that doesn't happen, and I'm really tired of those narratives. So I think that was one of the reasons why I probably didn't like Gully Boy. But there's no objective reason for me to hate Gully Boy. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it because it it earned a lot of money, and one of its main characters, which is the Ranveer Singh character, he lives in slums. So it was a really good thing to watch a star actually act like a kid who was born and brought up in an area that is quite underprivileged. The setting, the entire way they shot all those areas was really nice. I really liked that. I liked how Ranveer Singh acted. I especially loved Alia Bhatt's acting. She really, I was impressed by her. I've never really been impressed by her before, but that performance really stuck with me. I liked how they've, in a way, set up the whole place setting of that movie. I really like that they did it that well. So I'd like to hear why Swapnil thinks all of these things were not as good as they should have been.
Uh, Let me, like, you are right. Uh, you're right about Alia Bhatt. She gave an outstanding performance in that movie. She has been consistently doing it for quite some movies now. Her Razi was also great. She was also great in Udta Punjab. I haven't watched Highway, so I can't comment on it. But yeah, she's been giving some good hits and all. Uh, uh, she has been acting really well. My point is, if she's acting well, if she's doing something really good, why not make her integral to the script? If you really think about it, cut out Alia Bhatt's character and her entire role in that movie, the movie does not change at all. At all. The movie stays the same. She does
Yeah,
not
but the
contribute to
movie
the
is
movie
not
at all.
about Alia Bhatt, though. So I mean, the entire gender importance thing doesn't work here because if the movie was about Alia Bhatt, then fine. But it's about Ranveer. Yes, you might be right when you say why not make a movie about a female hip hop upcoming star who was born like, but that's a different story. I don't think that works in terms of Gulliver because it's not about her. It's about Ranveer Singh. So she is a supporting character. Now that the
Fair
question
enough.
is why is she a supporting character? She should have been a main character. Yeah, but
Main
uh,
character is
that's a different story
what I mean
altogether.
is what I mean is Alfred is a supporting character in Batman. Batman is not the same movie without Alfred. You are take any supporting character. Your movies are not different without them. Your movies are different without them. A good supporting character is supporting, like the term supporting is because they're not the central character, which is fine for me. Which as you said is a story for different discussion altogether. Why don't we have more female led movies? But okay, I'm going to park that topic for right now. But what I'm saying is, her part was inconsequential, and supporting does not mean you get to be inconsequential in a movie, especially heartbreaking when she gives such a great performance, and the callousness with which the script treats her. Like, fair enough, it's not a movie about her, but that does not mean her contribution equals the story remains the same without her. Like,
I
she
don't
should
think it
get.
was inconsequential. It provided another dimension to the story, something else that he wanted, and she
Which
supports
brings
him
me.
throughout. Without her support, I don't think that.
Huh.
I mean, Ranveer Singh's character Murad would have had the courage to face up to the consequences. But that's me. Though.
Yeah, I think she brings in a lot of stability to मुराद's character. क्यों मुराद के वैसे ही लौड़े लगे पड़े हैं लाइफ में. मतलब उसके घर में उसका बाप वापस एक दूसरा शादी करके आया है, उसका मामा उसको अलग नौकरी पे बिठाने के लिए लाया है. सो जो छोटे छोटे मोमेंट्स है उसके लाइफ में जहाँ पे उस ही कैन बी हिमसेल्फ, आई थिंक वो सकीना के साथ जो उसके मोमेंट्स हो वहाँ पे ही है. तो आई थिंक शी ब्रिंग्स इन अ लॉट ऑफ स्टेबिलिटी. एंड या आई थिंक कार्तिक समटेड मुराद मुराद नहीं होता अगर सकीना नहीं होती.
And which brings me to the second point also, कि the way she is treated is also to an extent कि she is again a plot device for Murad's character development. Uska kya? Like, which is a theme in almost all the Akhtar siblings movies, that female characters are more or less there only to serve as a plot device for the central male protagonists, some sort of awakening or some sort of stability.
If
Uh,
I may,
that,
I think this is
I,
most. I mean, you've pointed out a good thing. I think this is most apparent with Imtiaz Ali's movies. Jab We
okay.
Met and Tamasha are absolutely stupid when it comes to the women, especially Tamasha. I mean, what the fuck
Especially
is
Tamasha.
Deepika Padukone doing there? Doesn't she have her own life? Like, why is she serving
Exactly.
Ranbir Kapoor's purpose in that movie?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point. But yeah, that's a good point. But I don't think that is as relevant to Gully Boy as it's to Tamasha, because we don't spend a lot of because the entire. But you should go ahead and finish your point before I enter.
so so that's my problem with treatment of that character of Sakina, right? Word Safina,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Safina's character. There was a whole, well, like, even the brand of the female character that she is not afraid to speak what she has, like, fuck off. That is supposed to be a portrayal of a modern woman, and fuck off. Just get the fuck out of my way, and take your trashy ideas with you, is what I feel. Number
That's
one.
the equivalent of all the female superheroes coming together at the end of Infinity Wars Part 2. I mean,
Absolutely,
all of them. Just for
absolutely,
3 seconds, there is
absolutely.
female empowerment. Yes, great.
Exactly. Exactly. If you cared about female empowerment so much, why not make a fucking entire movie about it? Why not incorporate it in your script? Why do it for the shenanigans? Why do it for the marketing? Is what what really ticked me off about Safina. The other point that you said, yeah, fair enough. Good, well shot. Well acted by Ranveer Singh given his privilege. Uh, but why? So okay, so have you guys noticed how dark he appears in the movie? Like, his
Yeah,
skin tone
yeah,
is made
yeah,
darker.
yeah.
He's caked
Wood
with
polish.
bronze. Yeah, he's caked.
Wood polish.
Yes, yes, Zoya Akhtar. What great creativity. Poor people are not fair. Yes,
देखो
thank
इसके
you.
पीछे बहुत इसके पीछे इसके पीछे साइंस है. इसके पीछे साइंस है, मेरे को पता है. अमीर आदमी घर में बैठ के एसी चला सकता है, गरीब आदमी बाहर रहता है क्योंकि उसको हवा चाहिए और वो धूप में फिर टैन होता है. तो करेक्ट है, आई
भाई,
सपोज जो है सर
अमीर
ब्राउन
आदमी
होता
स्नान कर सकता है अच्छे साफ पानी से दिन में 4 बार. गरीब आदमी एक बार स्नान कर सकेगा,
है.
प्रॉबली वो भी गंदे पानी
तो
से.
एग्जैक्टली यस यस यस, तो वो उसका ब्राउन दिखाना तो जायज है मतलब. लेकिन फिर यहाँ पे फिर आलिया भट्ट को इतना गोरा क्यों दिखाया? बिकॉज मुसलमान गोरे होते हैं मतलब.
No, that's like a very misconception that all Muslim women are actually fair.
Yeah,
Like ते बुरखा
yeah.
घालतात म्हणून काय fair असणार आहेत का सगळ्या?
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
Like, like this movie is riddled with like the basis, the conceptions that this movie has now is as ridiculous as this is my biggest problem with that movie. It keeps on propagating these ridiculous ideas about what poverty is, what life in the slums is, to majority of a privileged audience which doesn't really understand ऐसा नहीं होता है जिंदगी में. Like this is not how things work. This is not how things are. Like this is just a very romanticized version of something that is very ghastly, that is very devastating in real life. And you're taking it on the screen and you're showing, oh, this is the life. This is there is poetry in it. So chup baitho na badwo, why? Why do you insist on making a mockery out of it? Which I think is Karthik's. Maybe do you relate this with the Joker's theme, or I'm sorry if you want to comment on this, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't, but it relates in the way that it misuses a lot of genuine problems for their own benefit, for their narrative benefit. So one of the most touted uh, facets of Joker was the mental illness part. So Arthur Fleck is mentally ill. So what? You don't explore that side at all. You just show he's going to the therapist. At the end, he's may or may not have killed the therapist. You don't know. You don't know how his entire life is being affected because of his mental illness. You show that he may have, like, you show a lot of things. Like, you show he is mentally disturbed. His mother, he has problems with his mother. He doesn't know who his father is. There is the history of his mother who may have been schizophrenic. You don't, there's this entire bouquet of what can you say, just plots just scattered around. You are not really connecting all those things in a coherent narrative that is going to, at the end, justify whatever you have shown. So at the end, when there is this one shot when Joaquin Phoenix is standing on top of a car and the entire road is on fire, people are just like bashing things, there's complete carnage in a way, and he's smiling. So when you're showing something like that, you have to justify that shot with a lot of things that have happened before. There was the Joaquin Phoenix dance in the toilet. I didn't get it. Like, what? Why the fuck is he dancing? Like, it was so completely out of the blue. People think, oh, he's crazy, so it's okay to do that. You have to justify crazy in a movie as well. You can't just, oh, ha veda hai na, ha kai pan karto hai. That doesn't work. That's, I mean, it's like making Tere Naam. It's not like, if you're trying to make a good movie, at least put in the effort. It's so,
नहीं, ना 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 ना, मैं तो नहीं, मैं सहमत नहीं हूँ इसके साथ। ये ऐसा तेरे नाम का ऐसा ऐसा बदनामी मैं नहीं सह सकता लाइफ में।
listen, Tere Naam is one of the movies that I hate. HATE.
Dare you talk about Satish Kaushik and his brilliance and his and his products? उसने एक फिल्म बनाया था तेरे संग किडल्ट लव स्टोरी। प्लीज डू नॉट कमेंट ऑन हिज फिल्म्स प्लीज।
What the fuck is wrong, kidult? Is
ये
it like between a kid and an adult?
That's Roman Polanski's dream. बाकी काय?
एक तरफ तराजू तेरी हंसी मेरे आंसू घुट घुट की क्यों सांस लूं उसे देगा क्या हिस्सा.
So the Joker movie also talks about how the world is now becoming very harsh. It's a harsh place for people. That even I think Arthur Fleck says something on the lines of, we don't really laugh at with each other, we don't really love each other, we don't really care for each other. And so the character uses all these things to challenge the world, to say that fuck you, I'm just going to now destroy everything. Now that character motive is present in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. It's present in David Fincher's Seven. It's present in Scorsese's Taxi Driver, which Todd Phillips said is his inspiration. But what Taxi Driver does so better than Joker is the fact that while you are watching Taxi Driver, you are constantly aware of your own moral state. You at no point, although may at sympathize with Travis Bickle, who is the main character in Taxi Driver. You may
Mm-hmm.
sympathize with him. You may understand that there is a reason why he is doing what he's doing, but you will never condone it. You will never say, "Oh, it's okay that he did." Now, Travis
Absolutely.
Bickle in Taxi Driver is a racist. He kills people. He wants to kill people. He wants to kill a politician. He takes his, he takes a date to a porn theater to show her a movie because that's what he knows. Now, there are a lot of problems with that character, and Taxi Driver made such a sensation back in 1974 because it was one of the first times that such a problematic character was the central character of a movie. It's okay to make movies about characters who have uh, what
Problems.
can you
Dark
say,
plots.
anti-social morals. Fine, that's
Mm.
not a problem. But how can you justify those you can't justify those anti-social morals, right? So how do you walk that thin line between gratifying that, but at the same time also maintaining some kind of a moral view of those things, right or wrong view of it. So while watching Taxi Driver, you always are watching Taxi Driver. You are never in Taxi Driver. If
Yeah,
I don't know how to clarify this, but there is,
No, no.
while watching the entire movie, there is all you can always sense a presence of the director there. The way Scorsese is a very disciplined direction in that movie. He situates every shot with complete intention, with complete knowledge, and with complete precision. There is nothing that is misplaced there. Everything is very calculated. Scorsese did it very in a very calculative manner. So you are always aware that a director is watching Travis Bickle do whatever he is doing. At the same time, you are in Travis's head listening to what he's thinking. You're watching him act, but you know you are watching him act. It's not something that you're a part of. You're never made a part of Travis's actions. You're always an observer with some kind of a distance. Like you're in his head, but you know you're in his head, so you will always be yourself while watching. I don't know if this is like I'm getting a bit too incoherent while talking about it, but this doesn't happen with Joker. So Joker has a lot of well lit shots, like beautiful frames and all of that. I agree. It's if you just watch it without having any kind of a narrative behind, if without any knowledge of narrative, without any knowledge of character, if you just take snapshots of each of those, some of its shots, it's clear that it's a very well shot movie, no doubt about it. It has a very chilling score. I absolutely loved it. The composer won an Oscar for it. It was well deserved, but Oscars don't matter. But still, it won. It was good because it deserved more or less. It was a very good score. Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor, but at the end of the day, an actor really cannot save a movie. In some situations, it can, but in Joker, he just couldn't because he didn't have a lot of material in the first place. Like I said, what is Joker really about? Is it about Arthur Fleck's life? If it is, then we don't know what Arthur Fleck's life looks like if you are not an Arthur Fleck. Because to be in a character's head completely is actually just being with him. Now, either you accept that or you reject that. And I have completely reject the idea of being in a psychopath shoes and actually saying, oh, ये बराबर इसको रीजन था ना बराबर बोलता है ये जोकर अभी दुनिया पूरा जला देना चाहिए हाँ go ahead and do it. I don't really care. So there are other one or two more issues, but I think I've spoken a lot, so I'll shut up.
No, actually, I completely agree with Karthik ki taxi driver does not make you complicit in Travis Bickle's morality. Is if anything, he is holding almost
Exactly.
like holding you responsible for your morality. कि तुम देखो, do you think this is right? Like almost like holding a, I don't know, a cinema shaped mirror in front of the audience and saying कि this is what's happening. You tell me if you think this is right. And
Correct.
most of us who are right, most of us who are in our right minds do not agree with what Travis Bickle does because obviously, like, there's no, that's very hard to come up with why not.
तेरा पिंजरा मजाल ने खाना परिंदे आने उड़ जाना तेरा पिंजरा तेरा मुक जाना सारा लाना बाना परिंदे आने उड़ जाना तेरा
तो I just feel I don't get where you guys are coming from. Well, I understand to some extent, but with me, I just don't care enough. I just feel the movies that are being made, especially in Bollywood, क्या अटेंशन दोगे यार तुम उसको? तुम तुम क्यों अटेंशन दोगे वो फिल्म्स को? सो मेरा हेटरेट से ज्यादा इट्स आई एम डिसअपॉइंटेड with a section of the industry which produces a similar type of films and well formula films as they call it. Abhi, obviously the formula is changing in every 3 or 4 years, but they purely bank on this formula, and sometimes this formula works for them, sometimes it does not, but they take that risk and they go ahead with this. My problem is कि क्यों नहीं कुछ अलग क्यों नहीं कर सकते हो तुम? और या तो ये लोग इतना अलग कर देते हैं कुछ तो कि वो नया नॉर्मल हो गया है. डूइंग समथिंग वियर्ड हैज बिकम द न्यू नॉर्मल. वो भी जरूरी नहीं है. यू कैन स्टिल मेक अ रोम कॉम एंड मेक अ डिसेंट मूवी आउट ऑफ इट. बट व्हेन आई सी अ ट्रेलर एंड आई मैं सोचता हूँ अरे यार ये वापस कुछ तो इन्होंने बना दिया है बेंचोद. तो तभी आई एम पुट ऑफ. मैं सोचता ही नहीं हूँ. सो इफ आई वॉक इन टू द थिएटर आई एम लाइक ओके मतलब दिस इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी अ गुड फिल्म. I might as well not expect. And a good thing about films is कि you don't have to face them every day. Nobody is forcing you to watch films. Unlike people, right? मतलब you work with your colleagues every day and you hate them, but they're in your face. Movies are not in your face. You can choose to not watch them. You can disassociate yourself with films anytime you want, and that's the beauty about films. You can care about it, not care about it, it's completely your call. मतलब वो तुम्हारा तुम्हारे ऊपर है पूरा का पूरा. तो बस वैसा ही है. आई थिंक दैट्स द रीजन आई विल नेवर रियली हेट अ फिल्म. Okay, so with this, we come to the end of our fourth episode of the Almost Social podcast. Guys, I think that was a pretty good session, right?
I don't think so, but take it.
Okay,
Yeah, we
great.
talked
We
a
are
lot.
optimistic.
We talked a lot.
Yeah, we talked a lot. We might have to edit this.
Yeah.
पर ठीक है. दूसरे एपिसोड के लिए प्लीज आइएगा गाइस. काफी अच्छा लगेगा. दिस इज अ fortnightly podcast, so hopefully we'll catch you after 14 days. Till then, take care, stay safe.
Stay
And
home
master
safe.
like
ओ बोलो आजादी